Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So I am taking part in a blog hop, and it's a new blog hop, and it's Zero Waste is the title of the blog hop, and it's about using some sort of Stampin' Up packaging that we might throw away. Instead of throwing away, let's use it for something. So I have been hoarding this box for a very long time. So this is the box that the Stampin' Blends storage came in. So I think all of our storage comes in really nice sturdy boxes like this, quite a nice size. I thought as soon as I got it and I opened it, I thought, oh, this would make a nice storage box for something. It is quite nice sturdy corrugated cardboard, nice and smooth, and I really liked it. So I'm going to use this. I'm probably going to take these flaps off. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use, so our DSP comes in with these white sort of bits of card, and sometimes they come with the sort of chipboard card, and I use these for like journal covers and things, but I use these sometimes if I'm making storage boxes and things, something that I want something a little bit stiffer for. It's thicker than our cardstock. It's sort of got a bit of a shine to it, but it's all right if you're using it for sort of a foundation for something. So like that, and it's just over 12 by 12 because it holds our 12 by 12, but I think it's actually wider than 12, isn't it? No, not really. Just, yeah, a smidge. It's a smidge. And the other thing is, we always get, whenever we get like a catalogue, we used to get a sort of a quarterly magazine. I'm just covering up my dress there, and we get these with it, and I've always kept these as well, and sometimes I do it for practice stamping, and sometimes I use the card for things. So I'm going to use those. Obviously I'm going to use some pretty paper. I like to use paper that I love when I'm making storage, because then I'm not giving it away. So I love this sheet. I really love that side as well. So this is from the, oh gosh, now I'm taxing myself with the name of it. It's in this new mini catalogue. It's the one with the windmills. There we go. So it's called Flowering Fields. That's the DSP, Flowering Fields, and this is from the Pansies one. I did a project the other day where I used some of this, so I thought it went quite nicely, and it would allow me to not use the whole of this sheet on this project, and I'll have some left because I quite like the other side as well. So I was toying between using the reverse as well as this. Thought that would look quite nice, or actually having the gingham with it, and I kind of went with the gingham with it. And I'm going to use some ribbon as well. So I've got some Highland Heather ribbon that is going to retire soon. I haven't used much of it, unless it carries over. Occasionally ribbon carries over, so it's only got a few months left this, so I thought, yeah, let's have that. I liked it, so it means that I get to see it. And my idea on this is to make myself a filing system to store my cards. So this is the stack of cards that I've made this year so far, and it's only January the 11th. So made quite a few. I've sent a few as well, so this isn't actually all of them. And I thought I'd make little file folders and put like labels on it. So one idea was I could do the months of the year and then put people's birthdays on the file front, and put the cards in, or I can just make it so that it's like I've got birthdays, belated birthdays, anniversaries, thinking of you, sympathy, hellos, miscellaneous, that sort of thing. So that, because they'd quite often he'd shout up to me and he went, have you got a card for this? Have you got a card for that? So I thought if I had a little file folder that then I can just sort of grab, and I've made these little file tops to put my labels on. I'll show you how I made them. Just genius, I think. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm just speeding this up because it did take me about an hour. So first of all, I'm going to take the flaps off, and I want a nice even edge. So I'm using a metal ruler and a craft knife and just stroking it down a couple of times, and that's all it takes to get through that cardboard. And then I'm going to save that for something else because it really is too good to chuck away. So just taking the two side bits off there so that it's easier to take the longer bit, and then I get a nice sort of smooth top. And I thought I'd use the lid bit to go and stick it to the base of the box, because the box has got you know, 4 bits of folded card into it, and I wanted to make it sort of secure so that the bottom didn't fall out. Not that a few cards in there is going to be too heavy, but I just wanted to be on the safe side. So I'm just checking on the size there, and then I'm going to just add some glue there. I was just showing my nice little pin there for putting in my glue I got for Christmas. So putting the glue all over and then sticking it down. I figured that once it was down, so I didn't want to test out the size before I put the glue on, but it seems to be okay. So that's that secure, and then I'm just using a sanding block there to make sure that there's no sort of frayed edges. And then I was thinking that actually I want to cover the edges because I don't like the look of them. Now I used to have some white gaffer tape which would work really well, but I couldn't find it. I think Ed nicked it. So I'm just measuring there the size of the box so that I know the size to cut my cardstock. So I'm cutting them 1.5 inches wide so that they're 3/4 of an inch sort of either side, so just scoring it 3/4 of an inch. And so for the front sections it's just over 6 inches, and for the side sections they're just over 5 inches, but I take a slight bit off because that's the outside of the box, and sort of on the inside you've got the width of the box to consider. And here I am just making some nice little wraps for the corner because they would not look quite so good. So I did a 1.5 inch square, scored at 3/4 of an inch on both sides, cut a tiny slit just up to the first score line, and folded it round, and that covers the corners really nicely. However, as I discovered at the end, this would have been better doing after I'd covered the top and the sides, because you get a bit of a mess where they join, and so that's what I discovered afterwards, having done all this, that I had to do it again to cover it afterwards, and then it stuck up a bit. So if I make another one of these, which I'm sure I will, I'll be doing those bits after. So yeah, do as I say, not as I am doing. So it's quite easy there to just put them down, and I say some of them might need a little bit of adjusting when you put them in, because now you've added another bit of card, so it's another little slightly shorter there. So yeah, I mean obviously if you've got a different box your sizes are going to be different, so there I've had to adjust. You've also got the seam of the box where it was joined, so that's a little bit thicker as well. So just adding glue to both sides. I'd run my Tombow needs refilling, and just squeezing it down using my bone folder to spread that glue around to make sure it's adhered nicely. And then we've got the little thumb notch there to contend with, so I just measured it there, and it was about 3/4 of an inch. So I've got a quick 3/4 of an inch circle punch, and with a bit of struggling I managed to cut that out of the card, so it's the same thickness. And so I am just sticking to one side of the box so that I can then stick the semicircle in place. So that's stuck down, and then the semicircle can go on top, and then I can stick the other side down. That seemed to be, for me, the easiest way of dealing with that little thumb notch, and that seemed to work quite well. So quite happy with that. And what I decided to do is measure for my DSP. I'm going to use that scalloped edge so that I'm going to mix and match with the gingham. So for the front and the back, I'm cutting at 6 inches by 4, and then just gonna cut the bottom with the scalloped die. And then the gingham, I'm doing 6 inches by 2.5, which should give me enough overlap so that when the scallops cut off, there won't be any gap. So it's overlapped as opposed to cut exactly the same. And then for the sides, I'm cutting them 5 inches wide, but the same depths as the front. And so just getting them ready. And what I like, because I've done this, is I've got some offcuts there for doing cards and other projects. So just finishing the cutting. Those are for other projects, and then I need to do the die cutting. So that's them all die cut out, and we can see how that's going to look when they're on together. The die wasn't quite 6 inches wide, so on the bigger sections you just have to use your scissors to follow the curve to finish it off, but it's no big deal, it still worked nicely. And then I'm going to put some white around the sides, and this is where I'm realising that I should have waited, and so I made 4 more corners there to neaten off the top. But you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I was just making this up as I went along. So again, I'm using 1.5 inches wide, scoring at 3/4 of an inch, and the box is like 6 1/8 inches tall. I think I might have cut slightly shy of the 6 1/8. So they're just sticking them all down and neatening them up, ready for the paper to go on. So yeah, just speeding up slightly there to get them all stuck on. So I think hopefully that's obvious what I'm doing for you. And then we're coming to covering, that's me showing how neat they all look, but the corners do stick up a little bit, so any that's not quite stuck down, I'm just using a little dab of Tombow there to hold them down. They are going to get covered with DSP, so I don't think there's any danger of them riding up. So I'm going to stick the gingham on first, because the scallop's going to go over the top. So I'm applying glue around the edge of the DSP, but the rest of the glue is going directly on the box. And I applied it so that it was flat on the desk, so that it was definitely at the bottom of the box. And then doing the same for the DSP with the scallop, I'm going to put glue all around the edges, and then apply glue to the box. So I'm making sure that that scallop edge is going to be firmly adhered, and then stick the rest on the box. I felt that that was an easier way of applying the mats to the box. So that's how I did that, and then I'm just repeating that on the other 3 sides. So just going a little bit faster here as I apply them all the way around in the same manner. And I'm so pleased, it looks so pretty. I'm quite delighted with how they match up. The pale papaya, not the pale papaya, the fresh freesia in the gingham goes so well with the background on that floral print. So that's them all done. So now we've got the ribbon to go around. So I've got this Highland Heather ribbon. I quite like it. It's nice and thick. And so I was just thinking, do I want it at the bottom? Do I want it around the top? And then I remembered it's going to have a join. So I'm using that little stitched rectangle and the playful alphabets to create a little plate there to say cards, so I know what's in there. If you were using to store other things, you could spell out whatever item you're putting in there. You could always print it on a computer as well, but I've got the dies and I'm going to use them, and there I am using my new tweezers. Quite excited about. They hold it in place without me pressing, and then you have to press to release, so perfect with somebody with dodgy hands who suffers with joint pains from rheumatoid arthritis, and my thumb is definitely sore at the moment. So that's that done. I'm going to leave that there to dry. So now I'm going to use that wide ruler as a sort of a measure to help me get it straight. I'm applying fabric glue, which I felt was probably the best way to attach that ribbon and to make sure that it's sort of permanent. And and then I'm using a pencil so I can see to put the glue up the centre of that pencil mark, rubbing it out before I apply the glue. Fabric glue is usually quite good. It doesn't show through the fabric because it's made for it, so it adheres and it's invisible. Initially you can see it, but then when it dries you can't see the glue at all. So I've used tape and glue dots and that before, and they tend to wear off after a bit, and I didn't want it dropping off, so that's why I chose that. And I chose to just glue it straight down and not use dimensionals because they'll get caught and it could fly off. So I thought flat to the surface is what's required. Used a bit of fabric glue on the centre bit because it is being stuck onto ribbon, and that is how I made the box. So now let's make the insert cards. So I'm just going to cut this down at 5 inches. And just check that that's okay. Yeah, I quite like that. And then we're going to cut it at 6. That's 2 dividers done. Now you may not like one of your dividers having this, I've seen that it's slightly bowed. You maybe take a smidge less. I say you may not like that one of your dividers has this on it, so I might come a little smidge. Well, no, I'm going to do them all at 5 now. I say, but you could cover it up, or you could not use that bit. I'm not bothered. And then I've got that for something else. So there we've got 4 nice dividers in there. And so now I want some tabs. So this is the genius bit, right? So I'm taking some Whisper White, well, basic white, and I'm going to cut it at 1.5. So I'm doing a 1.5 strip. And I'm going to score that in half at 3/4. I'm going to fold and burnish this strip. I'm saying the reason why I'm not using this is because it's folded over, and I'm now going to use a punch on it, and I fear that the punch will not go through. So, and then the punch I'm going to use is the Everyday Label punch, and we're going to feed this in with the folded edge to that edge. Push it all the way through, and we're going to pull it down so that there is a gap between the folded edge and the top of the punch, so that when we punch, it's not actually punching through the top. So we'll have a folded tab, and we've got a nice little shape there for a tab to go on the top of our divider. And I thought if we do it there where it curves down, and then you've got enough sticking up there for you to write on, print, use a label, whatever, to say what your card's like. So that's my little genius way of making some tabs. I wanted something long that I could put a label on. So although I have the famous rounded tab, I don't think I'd be able to write enough on it. And you should get 4 along here. And you get these interesting shapes, which I thought I could use as like faux hinges or something on a project. Don't like to waste. And then you've got that bit at the end, and I thought I could pull that in there and punch, and then make a smaller tab, so you actually get 5, but one of them's diddy. So I've got a little diddy one. So yeah, that was just a way of making a tab topper, which I thought was pretty cool. And then I say, I don't like to waste. These are quite interesting shapes. I think I might put those in my scrap bin. And I say, if you're making something and you wanted some faux hinges, I thought they look quite good as faux hinges, so I'm keeping them. So I've got my 4 dividers, and you could stick them so that they're staggered, so do one at the end, so if we have them on top of each other. So we have one at this end, one obviously at that end, then we can have that way. That one sort of halfway between that one, and then this one can be halfway between that one, and then they're sort of staggered along, which is quite handy when you're looking for things. I'm not sure if my Tombow now is going to. You can add your labels as you want. I've got a label maker, no idea where it is. I tidied it away, put it somewhere that's not going to come out. I put it somewhere that I thought would be a handy place to keep it. Can I remember where that handy place is? No, not at all. Although now, as I've said those words, it has just popped into my head where it actually might be. So you could of course decorate these dividers as well. So I think I said before, if you were going to do this as holding birthday cards, you could write down, you could have one for each month or 1 1/4. So I've done this into 4s. So one could be January to March, and you could put all your birthdays, anniversaries, whatever, and have your cards ready made in advance for people. It's one idea. Or you could just do it so that you've got birthday cards, anniversary cards, thank you cards, miscellaneous cards. This is probably what I'm going to do. And I think somewhere I've got a stamp set that does that. So actually I'm going to put the one on the other end now. So what I'm doing is sticking it down so that the curved bit is down below. You might have one of those tab punches. If you haven't, then this is a workaround. Which I thought was pretty good. When the thought came to me, I thought, Jez, you're a genius. Other people may have thought of this already. I don't think I am a genius. I think I do have some good ideas sometimes. But... So I'm going to go about halvey there. Yep. Ish. And then the final one, put about there. Yep. So that goes quite nicely like that. It's not precise. It's fine. So they can go in there. And I can sort out some of my cards. Let's have a little look-see at what I got. So hello friends, that can be miscellaneous. I've had a few of those. Birthday. Lots of thank yous. Always make lots of thank yous because I send them to customers. There we go. So and then it's just a matter of, and obviously whilst we're waiting for it to be filled, it might fall over a bit, but there, that is my little card index that I've got there. And I can stick in the front here, I've got some little thank you gifts that are ready, waiting to get sent out, so I can stick them in there as well, and it kind of keeps me all tidy and I know where I'm going. So I just need to add the labels. So I found my label maker. It was where I thought it was, where I suddenly thought actually that would have been a good place for it, but the batteries were dead, so that wasn't very useful. So I used a stamp, and actually I prefer it stamped because I've stamped it in Highland Heather, and so it all matches. So that is a nice full, I could fit more in, little box of stamps, cards rather, and yeah, I love it. I think I'm going to make another one, and so I can keep like journaling cards and tags and things that I've made, because at the moment they're piled on top of each other in a box, whereas this is much better because you can flick through and find them easy enough. So yeah, there we go. Hope you found that useful. Give you some ideas for upcycling and using your favourite papers so you get to see them. And they're not sort of hidden in a drawer. Much better to use and enjoy than have it hidden in a drawer. So that's going to look nice on my shelf. So might make some more. That means I might have to buy some more storage to get some more boxes. But I'm sure I can find other boxes that are this useful size as well. So I shall be looking out for when I get parcels of what I can recycle. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Share. Yeah, so all the details down below of things that I've used that you can buy. And yeah, hope that gives you some tips on not chucking things away. Okay, bye for now.